Welcome to another episode of The Grueling Truth, brought to you by Gridiron Mo, a new football or interactive football app where you get to call what you think the offense or defense should be doing during a live NFL game and see what other fans have called. Check out Gridiron Mo at www.gridironmo.com. As always, I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster, and right now I want to welcome in my co-host, Matt Andruscavage.
Thanks, Mike. Looking forward to definitely playing some Gridiron Mo with you in a couple of weeks.
Well, you'll just lose, Matt. But, hey, we have a great guest tonight. Our guest was a 7-time Pro Bowl selection at offensive tackle and a member of the All-Decade team during the 1990s. Help me welcome to The Grueling Truth, former Miami Dolphin great Richmond Webb.
Hey, Mike. Matt, how you guys doing tonight?
Oh, we're doing great, Richmond. Definitely an honor to talk to you. Definitely one of the best tackles in pro football history, I think.
I appreciate that, but I appreciate you guys having me on. You know, a lot of times when you retire, you don't get the opportunity, so I definitely welcome that, and it also gives me a chance to kind of stay connected and just talk football. That's something I love, so thank you again for the opportunity for having me on your show as well.
Hey, no problem. So we'll start off from the beginning. What drew you to football? What age did you start playing? Maybe tell us a little bit about your high school career.
Yeah, you know, I'm originally from Dallas, born and raised there, and grew up a big Dallas Cowboy fan, so always played. The thing is, I started playing in middle school, 7th grade. I wanted to play earlier, but I was always bigger than the other kids, so in Little League football, they always had a weight limit, so the only way I would have been able to play was if I would have had to play with older kids, you know, just to make the weight limit, and my mom wasn't having that, so I waited to 7th grade, and then always played either offensive line or defensive line, and then went to high school and played football and basketball in high school, and then was fortunate enough to be highly recruited, but ended up going to Texas A&M University, and everything went well there, and then ended up with the Miami Dolphins and finished up with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that Bengal thing later. I'm a Bengal fan. I got some Mike Brown questions.
Okay.
But I think Matt just dropped off the line. I'm sure he'll call back in. But you talked about going to Texas A&M. Tell us what took you to Texas A&M. I know you played you played your high school football in Dallas, didn't you? I
did. I played high school football in Dallas, and you know, back then, I'm going to take you back a little bit. Now it's the SEC and the Big 12, but back when I was coming out of high school, it was the Big 8 and the Southwest Conference. So I kind of wanted to stay close to home, so I really probably focused on schools in the Big 8 and in the Southwest Conference. And the two schools I really looked at in the Big 8 was Oklahoma State and the University of Oklahoma. And I think I visited Texas, Baylor, of course, Texas A&M, SMU, Oklahoma State. And after just visiting everything, I just felt at home at Texas A&M, and just had a great visit there. Coach Slocum was my recruiting coach, and he eventually became the head coach after Coach Sherrill left. So I actually played for Jackie Sherrill and R.C. Slocum. But made the decision to go to Texas A&M, and I think that was one of the best decisions I made in my life.
Well, you played for the legendary Jackie Sherrill at Texas A&M, and so can you tell us a little bit about what it was like to play for him?
You know, he was, you hear guys say players coach or whatever, but he knew how to bring the team together in unity. And I think the year before I went there, I think they think the record was like maybe 6-5 or something like that. But they finished strong. I think they beat TCU in Texas. And, his thing was, we're going to be something special. Come be a part of it. And, it just seemed like he was just on the up and up with me. And at the end of the day, he really was. And we went on to win my first year I got there, we won the Southwest Conference Championship. But we won that 3 years in a row and put a ton of guys in the NFL. So, I played with a great group of guys, great coaches, and for a great university that has probably one of the best networking connections probably around the United States. So it's a good thing to be an Aggie. I tell people that all the time.
Yeah. Now, then you go to the NFL. You made a promise to your mother, we read, before the 1990 NFL draft, and were able to keep it. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Back then, Mike, Matt, I had played, my final senior year, and in the spring, I think I had the Senior Bowl. I went to the Combine, and then I was visiting, trying to make a decision on who was going to represent me because I was being projected as a, first rounder. So I wanted the right guy, not only somebody I liked, but somebody who was going to do a good job, and then that was still, well respected. So in that time, I was in and out of school. So I went to my parents and I told them, I said, I wanted to withdraw from school that semester because I had missed so much time, and then I knew it would be tough to pass the classes. So she said, my mom said, well, you can do it. Just promise me that, you're going to go back and get your degree. So I said, okay. So I get drafted by Miami, and I think we ended up going to the playoffs. Yeah, we did go to the playoffs, and we beat Kansas City, and we lost to Buffalo. And after the game, I can remember like it was yesterday. My mom, it's like, well, it was a tough game, this and that, but now you got time to go back, get registered in the school so you can start working on your degree. And,
yeah, moms are like that, aren't they, Richmond?
She just wasn't hearing it. And at the end of the day, I was looking at it and saying, making that adjustment from college where you play 11 games, but I think we played 4 preseason games, 16. So it was probably 22 games. So I'm like, I want to take a breather, but I went ahead and went back and enrolled in school and got my degree in the spring of '93 because I didn't take a full load. I really didn't want to be there. So I said, let me kind of go part-time and got my degree, but I was glad I did that because she really pushed me to do that, and it's a special feeling to be able to walk across that stage and have them call your name and get your degree.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you face playing an offensive tackle?
I think the biggest challenge is for me, looking at it as offensive lineman is, especially the left tackle position, is most quarterbacks are right-handed. And probably your best pass rushers on the right side of the defense, which is the blind side of the quarterback. And I think now it's probably a little bit more attention brought to it because of the move to the blind side. But that's where, a quarterback is definitely vulnerable. So you want to put, typically your best athletes on the blind side because you can't afford to have a guy just, blindside and hit your quarterback. And then those are the type of plays where, you can cause a fumble. It can swing the momentum of a game. You guy fumbles or he hits him and then causes an interception and you run it back. I mean, you can be winning the game and in that instance, one play or two could change the momentum and then you never get it back. So I think now I think teams have always kind of realized it, but I think it's just been a little bit more attention brought to how important the offensive line is. And you can see today now as far as, the way, guys are getting paid and stuff like that now. So I think everybody's kind of aware that it's a very important position.
Yeah. Now, when you were with the Dolphins, you got to play for two of the great football coaches in NFL history, and Don Shula and Jimmy Johnson. Could you contrast their coaching styles and talk a little bit about what made them great coaches?
Well, I think one thing, they were both tough coaches. They both were very big on discipline and not creating mental errors. And when I say mental errors, is knowing your assignment, not jumping off sides, not doing anything to cause setbacks to either delay a drive or stop a drive to where you got to, punt the ball to the other team. So I think the knowledge that both of them had as coaches was tremendous, and I think that's why they both were very successful as far as coaches in the NFL.
What were some of your toughest battles in the trenches, or maybe your toughest opponents to play?
That's the easy one. My toughest opponent was always Buffalo, and I had to play against Bruce Smith 2, sometimes 3 times a year. But that was by far the toughest guy I had to go against year in, year out. And I tell anybody that. And thank goodness Reggie White was on the other side, because I had enough with Bruce, so I definitely didn't need any more help.
You want to do both.
Yeah, I didn't need both of them. So yeah, it was. He was definitely played the run just as well as he did the pass, and that was one of our division rival games. So it wasn't hard to get up for that game, but you knew you were going to be playing for 60 minutes or more. If we went into overtime or anything. But Bruce Smith was the toughest guy I had to go against year in, year out.
Well, you played with a Hall of Fame quarterback, Dan Marino. Tell us a little bit about what it was like to block for a quarterback that would not leave the pocket.
It's pluses and minuses to that, and
well, he got rid of the ball so quick it didn't really matter.
The quick release definitely helped, but the tough thing was teams knew that Dan wasn't a mobile quarterback, so a lot of times we would get a lot of more line stunts, line backer blitzes, or they try to disguise a corner safety blitz or whatever. But the thing majority of the time was they might try it, but with Marino, with his quick release, or if he recognized it, he would make you pay. So they would normally stick more to doing the defensive line stunts than other, because if you blitzed him and he saw it, he was going to make you pay. So that was the good thing. But it made it tougher at times. There's pluses and minuses, but I wouldn't trade Dan for anybody. I mean, he was just he's one of the best to ever play that quarterback position, and I was fortunate to play with a guy like him.
Yeah, you talked about Bruce Smith, you talked about Reggie White. Another guy you had to play against, one of my personal favorites, the late Derrick Thomas. Just talk about what it was like to play against him.
Yeah, when I was in college, we played Alabama. I think that was my junior year, and came to down to Texas A&M, and Alabama beat us, and he was like a top 5 pick or whatever that year. But I think he had about 4 sacks against us. And I can remember my rookie year, we played Kansas City in the playoff game, and you know how you out warming up before that. And he's like, you went to Texas A&M? And he said, I don't remember playing against you. I said, yeah, because I played guard my junior year, and I moved out to tackle my senior year. And he was okay, but one of the quickest guys getting off the football, and just, he was that type of player that would just had that quick speed rush around, and if he could bend around and slap the ball out the quarterback's hands, cause a fumble or make a big play. Derrick Thomas was known for that. So a lot of respect for him, and he was a great, great friend. I got to know him over the years, and he's just a great, great guy.
Well, the thing about Derrick Thomas is you were on the field when he played one of the greatest games any college linebackers ever played also. I think it was in 1988.
It was in 1980. I know he had 4 sacks against us. I mean,
yeah, he had I think 4 or 5 sacks, and he had like 6 or 7 tackles for loss.
Yeah, he was a nightmare. And, they had him. Keith McCants was on that defense. I mean, they had a heck of a. I mean, they had a really, really good team. So I do remember that. I mean, he did. Number 55 definitely stood out in that game.
Yeah. Now, Matt asked you earlier about the challenges of playing offensive tackle, but what were some of the things that you really enjoyed most about playing the position?
I think any time that I think one of the things I really enjoyed was when you get in a situation to where you're up and say the Dolphins defense stop, they have to punt us, and it's a little bit of time left on the clock, or we got to do like a 8 or 10 play drive to sustain it and just eat up the clock, and they can't stop it. I think that's one of the most important times when you can control it. You don't have to worry about putting the defense back out on the field and saying, hey, you guys win it for us. But when you can take the ball down, drive it, and just eat the clock up and don't give the other opponent a chance to get back and have a chance of winning the football game, I think those are some of the best moments.
Well, you had to play on Thanksgiving, and you understand the difficulty of getting ready for a Thursday game, playing a short week. How hard is it to recover from playing on Sunday and then have to, you're basically doubling up your days of practice, each day as you get ready for a short week? How hard is that, to recover as you prepare for a short week?
Well, you really don't get to rest until after the game, because then you got a long weekend. But you're exactly right. The only benefit to playing a Thursday game, and it's really not one, especially like a Thanksgiving game, is if you were the Dallas Cowboys or the Detroit Lions, and that's because you get to play at home. If you're playing against them, you got to travel. So it's really short because you're going to travel the day before the game, which is Wednesday. So you got a couple of days to prepare, and then you travel, have a little walkthrough, and then Thursday you're out there playing on the field. So that is extremely tough, especially if you had a tough game the week before. You're still kind of sore and you try to work it out. But mentally, I think you just kind of just get yourself prepared, because you still got to go out there and do it. And then I think once the game starts, you really don't focus on it or think about it as much. And then you go out there and do your job, and then once it's over, you say, hey, now I got a couple of days to rest.
What's your opinion of the NFL today and the way they have a game every Thursday now? You're having games on Saturday, Sunday, Monday. What's your opinion on the short weeks?
I think the reason they're having so many games like this is because it's a demand for, people just crave football. And, I miss football season once it's over with now, so I kind of understand the fans' perspective. But as a player, I do understand the toll it takes on your body when you have to play a game in a short week. I think the only benefit is like if you play on Thursday, Monday, or Sunday night, that's prime time, and you get to showcase your talents as a team or whatever. You end up making it to, the Pro Bowl or whatever, because you're the only game on that night, whereas on Sunday you have multiple games on. So the way I looked at it was, we would play a lot on Monday night, and we'd have a few Thursday night games, but that was a chance for you to showcase your talents, and that's the way I looked at it, and I tried to approach the game. So I definitely wanted to look good in those primetime games.
Yeah. So then later on in a decade, you made a transition and signed with the Cincinnati Bengals. Tell us a little bit about what made you decide to come to Cincinnati and a little bit about your time here.
Well, I think the thing was I just wasn't ready to I still had some football left in me, and at the time didn't work out anything with Miami. And then I think I signed with Cincinnati after the draft, because I talked to several teams, and there was some interest there, but I think a couple teams, just wanted to go see what they were going to get out of the draft before they made a decision. And then I remember going up meeting with Paul Alexander, going through the facilities, stuff like that, and felt like it was a good place. I know that was the NFC, I guess, Central then. Maybe no, I was the North end when I said that. I'm thinking too far back, but
I think it was the AFC Central still. Not 100% sure. That was 1998 or 99?
No, that was 2001.
2000.
2000? Okay.
Yeah, 2002 was the realignment.
All right. So, it was still the AFC Central.
Okay. So, I knew about, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, those were like just rival games. And everybody was, once I got out there, I didn't realize everybody was close, 3.5, 4 hours drive. And, that's where a lot of the older rivals came from. So, but there was true fans up there. I can't say that. And they welcomed me with open arms. And I know the Bengals at that time, they were trying to turn things around, but they had been in a slump. But to see the way the fans supported them let me know that they were true fans, and I could definitely appreciate that.
All right, hey, real quick, I want to remind people you're listening to Grilling Truth on NGSC Sports. You can follow us at ngscsports.com. Just go to the show pages. You can find us there. You can also find us on www.thegrillingtruth.com. Check us out on Facebook also. And remember to check out the app Gridiron Mode, the new interactive game. That's www.gridironmode.com. Matt?
If a young offensive lineman were to ask you for the most important advice you could give them on attempting an NFL career, what would you tell them?
I think some of the keys are definitely coming in shape. If you're a young offensive lineman, definitely learn the playbook, because the playbook is so large and it's a lot. The quicker you can get that down, the less you have to think about what you have to do when you get to the line of scrimmage. And then the third thing would be is the preparation, good practice habits, and definitely doing the film study. Study your opponents, and any tips you can pick up or whatever through film study, that will definitely help you out. So those are 3 things that I try to tell young guys about what can really make the difference as far as how successful you can be, as far as if you're in shape, learn, because once you learn the playbook, you don't have to think about what you have to do. You can just go out and execute, and it takes away any type of uncertainty or whatever. Do I go left on this play? Do I go right? If you know that's one less thing to work, and you can focus on your opponent and what he does. Is he lined up tight? Is he lined up wide? Do I double on this play? Do I pull on this play? And then go out and just execute your assignment.
So we're running out of time. Can you tell us what you got going on today since you retired?
Yes, since I'm retired, I'm in the Houston area, and me and my wife own a company. It's called EnvironmentalMachines.com. That's the website. And basically, we're in the water wastewater industry. And currently, right now, we have an operations contract with the city of Houston, and we do the operations at their Southeast Water Purification Plant. But we also do rebuild on belt filter presses, and we also do service work as far as people going out needing maintenance on their equipment and stuff like that. So that's what I'm currently doing these days.
All right, we got about a minute or 2 left. Matt, you got any final words or final comments, questions?
Well, Richmond, I really appreciate you being on with us tonight. I remember watching, I got to see a lot of the Buffalo Bills in the early 90s and the Miami Dolphins, and I got to see a number of those division rivalry matches that you were talking about. And, I remember, I just remember there's always that great left tackle on the Dolphins. And so I remember it very much, and I remember what a great player that you were, and it was an honor to have you on tonight.
Well, I'd like to say I appreciate you guys. Great questions. Really enjoyed the interview and all that, and definitely hope in the future maybe I can come back on again or whatever. But I just want to take the time to thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, hey, we're going to start. You know Leon Searcy?
Oh yeah, I know Leon.
Okay, Leon is actually going to start, or we're going to start doing a show, me, Leon, and Matt, where we pick the games every week, NFL games. So if you ever want to come on there and pick a week and see how, you're more than welcome.
Okay. That's pretty tough to pick those games. I've tried before.
I know, because it looks real easy when you compare with, the morons on TV, and then they're all like 8-6 and happy about it. So.
Right.
Exactly. I feel like we can do a little better than that.
Well, that's what you think until you do it. So.
Right. And then when you're 4-12, it's not so good.
But all right, hey, once again, Richmond, thanks a lot for being on our show. It was an honor to have you on. I think someday you'll have a bust in Canton too.
Hey, thank you, sir. You guys have a great one, and I will talk with you later.
Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot, Richmond.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You were just listening to former Miami Dolphin All-Pro offensive lineman Richmond Webb on The Grueling Truth, brought to you by Gridiron Mode. Check out Gridiron Mode, a new interactive football app where you get to call the plays during NFL football games and compare them to what other people are, the plays they're calling. But you got any final words, Matt?
He was a great player. Like you said, I think he's deserving of Canton. Seems like a lot of guys we have on are like right at the cusp. It's like we know they're great players. We know they belong in Canton. It's like I don't know what's taking so long over there. Why some of these guys would be held out from being in Canton. But he was a great one. He was one of the best tackles in the league.
Well, I know this. Tomorrow night, if you guys tune in, you'll hear former Houston Oilers safety Vernon Perry from the Love You Blue Oilers in the late 70s. We've had a lot of them guys on, one of my favorite teams outside of the Bengals. We'll also have an interview coming up this week with Mike Lacoste, and we'll have a couple other shows that I think are we going to do that NBA show here tomorrow night?
We might have to do that. That would be a good time.
All right. So remember, check us out at www.thegruelingtruth.com and check us out on Facebook. Go like the page. And make sure you check out Gridiron Mo. You guys won't be disappointed. It's a great app. So for Matt Andruscavage, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.